Hello, friend, and welcome. If you're new to the collective, I'm excited to meet you, and if you're returning, I hope that you're having a much better day than the last time we talked. In my readings, I like to blend intuitive messages with a little bit of shadow work along with tarot and oracle cards. This allows me to help you see yourself differently, allows me to help you heal, and to help you with your growth. Each reading is meant to guide you on your inner transformation journey, and if the point of it is that, I can help you with each step that there is along the way. So today, what I'm getting from the collective is that we're feeling very frustrated, very aggravated, like there's just a constant roadblock that is not easing up. And I feel like the reason this is happening is because there's something underneath the surface that we are not acknowledging. So I would like to acknowledge or get out whatever it is that is keeping us from literally moving forward. I feel like it's just a series of events that keeps happening. The way that I'm feeling right now is, say that you're just trying to get out the door, like you're trying to go somewhere and you're just trying to get to your car so you can drive, but like something keeps popping up, like there's just one mess if you get found, something is not working, like it's just everything is keeping you from literally going out the door, but it's always different circumstances. So the first card we got is Desperate. This card is never a fun one to receive because it's not a great place to be. And whenever we're in desperate situations, it's one of those that we've already given up hope. We've already accepted defeat. And I'm not saying this again as somebody who hasn't been in desperate situations herself or has stared at, just rock bottom going, how the heck do I even begin to climb or dig or whatever? I've been there. The thing about being desperate is a lot of times we forget there is a way. It's just going to be a bit uncomfortable and it's not exactly what we want and how we want to go about it. So when you're in this situation, my first question to you is, what can you do right now in this moment? Not about whatever you think the issue is, but like, can you do some dishes? Can you take a shower? Can you fold some laundry? And that seems silly and arbitrary and like, what's the point? But as soon as we start focusing on what we can do around like the things that we do have ability to control, somehow a solution starts to build and make sense to us. Nurturing. So whatever you're going through right now isn't that you're going through it as punishment or as some type of, the universe is coming after you or laughing at you. This is a chance for you to nurture something that you're developing. And I know, again, this feels counterintuitive, but hear me out. When you're nurturing something, specifically if it's a paradigm shift or a new identity or something along those lines, it has to be something that, you know for certain that you anchor into place. And unfortunately, sometimes in order to anchor something into place, it's got to get pulled on. It's got to get yanked. It's got to make sure that it's actually there in order to know it's secure. Because if, it's not secure, if it's, just there and it feels secure, then when it gets yanked on or gets pulled on, it's going to get moved. And that's what we're trying to avoid. The other thing about nurturing is when something's new, it takes a lot of attention. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of patience. So understand that whatever you're going through right now requires time and patience as well. It requires care and it requires compassion. Because what you're going through is something that is going to continue to help you grow through change. Then we have Daydream. And right now, I feel like the reason why we're in this space is because we decided to make a change. We decided to follow our heart. We decided to go after our North Star. And right now we're questioning whether that was the right thing to do because everything's changed and now everything feels chaotic and we're not sure that getting on the hot air balloon was even the right idea. Here's the thing about this card. This card always has a different message every time I pull it up. But it always revolves around the fact that we used our imagination to create some type of scenario that put us in a place, in a space that we wanted to be. And when you start working to get there, yeah, you're literally being blown by the wind. There are so many variables that are outside of your control And it's one of those where you just have to kind of let the wind blow you where it needs to blow. Even if it puts you in spaces that don't feel right or feel comfortable, it's one of those where, yeah, I'm going to tell you that you have to trust the process. And I don't mean that as in, I expect that you all of a sudden let go and say, okay, I'm trusting the process, that it's going to be a water slide full of fun and joys. That's not it. What I'm getting at is we have very limited beliefs and views on what and how things are supposed to work. And when we allow ourselves to just say, okay, I'm going to trust this and I'm going to go with it, and we do that, and then we look back, hindsight, after we've went through it, we're like, oh, I can kind of get it. I see it. I understand why I had to go through that. So know that you don't understand it now, but there will be an understanding later. We just, again, trust the process. Masculine energy. And I don't care if you're male or female, this is divine masculine energy. And this is asking you to act, asking you to do, asking you to, do things. And when I say act, I don't mean put on an act. I don't mean put on a mask. I'm literally using the very definition of act, like move, like do something. Because when we are in these spaces of desperate, nurturing, and daydreaming, it's real easy to think about the future and what it's going to hold for us. It's not as fun to actually do all of the mundane, the tediousness, the everything we have to do in order to get to that goal that we want to do. So this card right here is asking us to start looking around and start doing the mundane, start doing the tedious. I don't care if that's your dishes. I don't care if that is, you taking out the trash, folding laundry, journaling even counts. Just do something. And doing something, you're going to be able to get your energy to move, and you're going to release stagnant energy, and you're going to release other types of energy as well that aren't serving you for any purpose. So get in the motion of doing something, because that's where part of the solution lies. And now I want to ask the tarot cards, because something happened that got us into a space where we just assume that this is it and it's not going to get any better. And it's like a societal belief. That feels good. It's a societal belief or something along those lines. And I don't know. I feel like part of this frustration, aggravation is because you are working to find your truth and your happiness and your purpose. And what it is, you found it through this daydream, and that's what you're nurturing. And as you're doing it, it's just everything seems to be going wrong, and you don't understand why when you're trying to do the right thing. And so I want the tarot cards to help us understand more of what's going on, so that way we can understand that, yes, we're still doing the right thing, we're on the right path, but what is it that, can help us to understand better? So we have the Eight of Wands here in its reverse position. Eight of Wands really explains this whole, these three cards, because it's telling me that, whatever you do, it lands, but it lands short. It's like you're trying to get a $5,000 loan, but you can only get $3,000. It's, one of those things where you have a deadline, but you're going to need 2 extra days. There's no way you can make it, that day. It's just one of those things where it's yes, I can execute everything that I need to do, but something's going to be off, something's going to land short, and that's an aggravating place to be. Now, here's the thing about the Eight of Wands. Wands are about your passions, desires, and drives. Sometimes it's asking us to pivot. So, and I said that with desperate too. See what it is that you can do to, not necessarily make the mark, but how can you adjust in the moment? How can you MacGyver it even a little bit? Sometimes that's what you got to do. Nine of Swords in its reverse position. So we've been thinking about this for a while. This has been keeping us up. We've been losing sleep over it. In its reverse position, though, we are working to actively let go of those thoughts, those fears, those anxieties. The thing is they still keep us up. They're still in our head. Here's the thing. You need to get them out. You need to journal. You need to talk it out. I don't care what, new age metaphysical YouTube influencer you're watching right now. Yes, being positive is good, but you also need to honor the negative. And what I mean by that is you need to get it out. You need to write it down. It's not going to ruin your manifestations because it's already ruining your manifestation because it's staying in your head. So get it out on paper. Get everything out that is negative in your head. Just write it down. Say it out loud. Just do what you need to so it can get the attention that it needs so it can get out. And then once it's out, then write your truths. Then say the affirmations. Then, envision what it is that you're going after. Replace that emptiness with your truth. But we still need to get it out. We still need to talk about it. Ace of Wands. So this straight up tells me, again, that you've done something, that you're nurturing something, that you have all this energy, this passion, this desire to drive to do something. And that's great. Do it. Follow through. Allow yourself to continue to work towards what this is. Don't lose that passion. Don't lose that fire just because you find yourself in an uncomfortable place. And yeah, I get that's easier said than done. I'm not saying this easily or lightly. I'm saying it from a place of experience here. Whenever I've decided to create something or do something, my world always just goes chaos and, whateverness. But you know what? I just keep doing. I keep following. And I keep knowing that I'm going to succeed. And yeah, I always assume this cat's on catnip with this card, by the way. Just because it's fun. Don't know what that means for your message. Take it as you want. I just wanted to point out that little fun thing for me. And then we got the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords, we're just having an unnecessary cat fight that's going to get nowhere and anywhere. The swords being that air element, that intellect, your thoughts. And this is one of those things where, you and whoever you're arguing with, or maybe you're even arguing with yourself, I don't know. But you're both trying to say that whatever the color on the wall that you want is purple. But you're, fighting over who's the one that's actually saying it's purple. Even though you both agree that it's purple. It's just one of those things where nothing's going to get done. Nothing is going to be found as long as this card is upright. As long as we don't allow ourselves to actually stop. Think about what the real issue is. And then we have to find compromise. And that compromise might be something that's difficult for you to work through right away. You're going to be like, Kirsten, I don't have anyone to compromise with. Yeah, you have yourself to compromise with. Have you ever thought about compromising with yourself? About saying, okay, I'm going to, I have this list of things I'm going to get done today, and I'm going to get all 10 things done. Okay, well, maybe getting all 10 things done isn't what you really need to do. Maybe you need to compromise and say, if I get 5 things done, then I will also allow myself to do X, Y, and Z, which also are important for me, that aren't on the list. Yeah, you need to allow yourself to prioritize, to see through, to see what really needs to be done, what is actually important. And you need to allow yourself to see things from a different perspective too. Because 5s are all about change. So this aggravation, this frustration is caused because, again, we're trying to get that change. And yeah, you're in the early stages of it. And the early stages are the most uncomfortable, but also the most exciting. It's like you're always on a teeter-totter. You're going back and forth. You're going like, yay, I'm making the change. I'm doing it. And then you fall down and you're just like, oh my God, this sucks. This is hard. I don't know what I'm doing. And then like things are going on. You're like, yay, I'm doing it again. And guess what? That is literally what change is about. It's kind of what this Five of Swords is talking about too. So allow yourself to just go through the process and know that this is part of the process. Now I want to ask the cards for just some assistance on how to help us through this discomfort, how to help us find the motivation to act, how to help us to, get through the mundane and the tediousness of nurturing and allow ourselves to just know that, even though this isn't comfortable, that we are on the right path and that this is where we need to be. Just 3 today. Forgiveness. Whenever this card comes up, yes, forgiveness isn't to other people is important. But also, the biggest and the most important thing you need to forgive is yourself. You need to forgive yourself. You need to forgive yourself for, getting you in the spot that you're in. And you're going to be like, Kirsten, this isn't my fault. Hear me out. Some part of you is still blaming yourself for allowing yourself to be here, whether it's your fault or not. We self-guilt and saying that if I could have done this or I could have done that, or if I would have known this or I would have known that, that is still you blaming yourself. So forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for, trusting somebody, even though, they're the one that broke your trust, because I bet you're blaming yourself for trusting them. Forgive yourself. Don't hold yourself accountable in ways that you wouldn't expect your friends or your loved ones to hold themselves accountable. So first and foremost, forgive yourself. Because if you can do that, then you can reclaim your power. And if you have it in you to forgive the others in this situation, that's great. I'm not going to ask that in you in this reading because I don't know your particular situation. And sometimes it's too soon. And I get that. Struggle. This card was a struggle for me when I first started with this particular deck. But then I thought about it, and here's the thing. You don't actually learn anything if you don't struggle. And you're like, well, that's a grim way of seeing the world. Is it? Because think about your life. Think about everything that you've gone through and all the real lessons that you've learned. Would you have been able to learn those lessons if you weren't struggling? Would you, figured out, how to recover from certain how to recover from certain situations without, going through the struggle? And I'm not saying that, the struggle has to be like dark, deep, like bad, assiduous stuff. That's not what I'm getting at all. But when I learned to play soccer, I didn't learn, how to do a quick, backward move instantly and instantaneously. I struggled with it. But once I finally got it and succeeded, A, I had a lot of confidence. I was super confident in that one. But B, it was something that I knew I could do and other people couldn't because I was willing to go through the struggle. I was willing to practice. I was willing to, do something and get better at it. So know that struggle is part of growth. Unfortunately, it is growth. Think about this too. When you plant a seed, okay, it starts out as a seed and it's in its shell. You water it and then it has to crack out of its shell. Well, that's very comfortable, and it's got to struggle against the shell. And then it has to struggle as it finds its way all the way through the dirt. And then it has to crest and break through that. And then it finally gets to the sun. All that is a bit of a struggle, but it's also part of the process. Omens. So this is you needing to be asked to look out for signs. Instead of saying, give me a sign to let me know that what I'm doing is right, look for signs for you to see that what you're doing is right. Look for it in your own life. Sometimes the best omens are the ones that you identify in your life because you realize, oh, that is growth. You realize, oh, I feel better. Oh, I'm breathing better. Wow, my house is actually clean today. The signs are already in your house, already in your life, already in your workplace, are already there. You just have to see them for what they are. And if you're just gonna be like, Kirsten, you're a big fat liar, that's not true, fine. Then ask for the signy signs. Ask the universe to show you something oddly specific. Ask the universe to show you a purple and green spotted giraffe. And when you see that, you'll have your sign. Now I just want to ask the cards for encouragement on what it is that we need to do to help us manage this change, to manage this time, and what it is that we're going through. Because it's difficult. It is. I get it. Oh, that one flew. And, if we're struggling, we're not always having fun. So let's see what this card is, the one that flew first. You have the power to unlock the truth of who you are. This one's a pretty straightforward card, but I love it because it's butterflies, it's a key, it's a heart. And the best way for you to unlock the truth of who you are is just to keep going through this. Keep following this inspiration. Keep allowing yourself to, embrace the struggle. Keep nurturing and doing the mundane and the tedious. Keep following that North Star, whatever it is, because you have the power to do this. You have the power to unlock who you are, and it's going to be a change. It's going to be a transformation. Butterflies go from caterpillar, chrysalis to butterfly. You are going to have to do the same thing. You are also going through caterpillar or chrysalis phase right now. Open your heart to the changes coming into your life. Pretty straightforward. You have things happening, and, open your heart to it. It might be scary, but allow yourself to experience it. Don't give up hope. What you want may be closer than what you think. So this is a reminder that you have an expectation of how long it's going to take, of, how long this journey is going to be the way it is. What you don't know is that you don't actually know how long it is. It could be quicker than what you think. It could be easier than what you think. So don't give up hope just because you're in this moment right now. And here's another really obvious reminder. If you give up now, you're never going to get there. So keep going. You got this. Do your best to stay grounded, in touch with your own growth. So this is important. This is what I was talking about with omens. If you, stay grounded, if you allow yourself to stay in touch with your own growth, you can realize that there are signs of your growth, that there are signs of your change, and that you are doing what you are, trying to achieve. It's just one step at a time. I also want to remind you, what I love about this card specifically is pumpkins are planted in the spring. They don't ripen until most of fall. So know that sometimes we all also have our own individual growth, and that growth looks different for everybody. Because a pumpkin, you pluck those in fall. Strawberries, you pluck those in spring. So, maybe you're in a pumpkin season, maybe you're in a strawberry season. Who knows? The path to peace requires relaxation. Let yourself rest. So this card is a reminder that if you want to find things and find peace, that you have to allow yourself to have active rest. Active rest is you actively just sitting there doing, letting your brain turn off. That can be meditation. That could be a bubble bath. That can be you just sitting on your deck and enjoying the sunlight or sunset or the night stars. You need to give yourself a chance to just relax and rest. Because while you're going through all this, while you're working on all this change, while you're doing all the hard work, if you don't let yourself rest, you're gonna burn out. So allow yourself the chance to rest and relax amongst the chaos of everything that you're going through. And if you're not sure how the best way to relax is, go ahead and ask in the comments below. I'll help you find a guided meditation or, just a relaxing song or YouTube video that allows you to just find peace. And if you want specifics on your current situation, I do have a link in the description below for private readings. I have some available dates still. Hit me up if you want. This is your reading. I know you're going through change. I know you're going through some uncomfortable times, but I know you can do this because you are an amazing being and you have the power to do what it is you want, even if you've forgotten it. This is all I have for you today. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye-bye.